Yeah, can you all see the screen? I can't see you guys, so somebody has to just help me out here.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, so perfect. So this is how like generally an R console looks like. So this area is called console area. This is called like this is the place where you can work around with R. Like for example, this is an R script where you type the code and you get the results over here. You see here, okay? So in the previous session, I had explained how to use R Markdown. If you do not know what that means, it's just like one space where you can enter code and save it like how you save a PDF file or a doc file. It's just a space where you can type things. Okay, so this is a space where you can type things. So this is like this presentation will act as a recap to certain things that I mentioned before. I and Hrithik. Hrithik is the other core team member. He's not here today, but he and I had a presentation previously, like which I mentioned, and there we explained a couple of things. For those people who were there, it's a recap. Otherwise, it's an introductory session. So in R, there are definitely two things we can do. One is like with respect to data. One is like you can upload your data, and there are also some already existing data that you can work with. So here the data that we are going to work with is called iris. So for I want to view these data called iris, so I'm just gonna one second, let's just put it here. Okay, so I'm just typing iris and this whole iris data sheet will come, and the data sheets seems to have like different rows. Sorry, these are called rows, like 1, 2, 3, 4. These are rows and these are columns. Sepal length, sepal width, petal width, and species. So here there is a nominal data wherein they have named what species they belong to, and then there are a bunch of like numbers, like a very numerical based data. And now you know how the data looks like. And here, as you can see, this just shows up till 10 rows. Then you can just click on this and next you can keep pressing next to see like the remaining data set. So first thing what we are going to do is let's know what how the summary of a data looks like. So for example, like Tanvi mentioned, finding out the mean, median, and like standard deviation and all those kind of things. For that, what you have to do is like you have to enter the code summary and put in the bracket what is the name of the data. Okay, you enter it, and here you get the minimum value. So it says for sepal length, this is for sepal width, likewise for all the other parts. Okay, and it says there are 50 setosa species, there are 50 versicolor, and there is 50 virginica okay species. And here you can see that the minimum value in sepal length is 4.3, then the first quartile is 5.1, then the median value is 5.800, mean value is 5.843. Okay, and the maximum value is mentioned, and also the third quartile is mentioned. Like I said earlier, like there is not only one way to do same things. So there is another way to do get a little more bigger set of summary. That is like this will give you a very small gist with minimum, first quartile, median, mean, third quartile, and max. But if you enter this data, I mean this code, it gives you like this in a very good, nice, organized table. So here there is the number given n value. Then we mentioned about n value, that is the total number of observation. Then there is a minimum, max, median, first quartile, third quartile. Then there is something called interquartile range, mean. So many other things are mentioned. So like for example, if you do not understand any of these things, let's say I don't know what mad means. Okay, what is this mad? It's just very confusing. So what I do is I put question mark and search mad and then run it. So what happens is here it will explain. There's a help console actually. So here it will give you an understanding about what this is called median absolute deviation. I myself am not clear about this theoretically, but apparently this is a thing. And let's say even with mean also, like let's say mean, and I'm gonna run it. And it says arithmetic mean is what it is called, and what are the different components of this code. So it says whenever you see x here, you're supposed to replace it with something. Okay, so it says you have say mean, then put a bracket and put whatever it is there. Okay, and another thing that you can learn is like if you just want you know what, no okay, for this this is how we use the code. There's a both the code will give you the same kind of results, but the second code is a little more bigger. It is giving a little more information, and also like in a tabular format, and so that it's easy for you to look at. Okay. Then another one is called histogram. So you know what a histogram is. Histogram basically is just a figure, like it's just a graph showing like how much, like how much each score is present in a particular data set. So let's say there is something called normal distribution curve, right? So or any graph looks like this. Like if you can see what I'm enacting. So it looks like this, wherein there the minimum score is the least and the maximum score is also the least, but the middle value or the median value will be mostly like the highest. So that is a normal distribution. So for you to, uh, 1 second. Yeah. So for you to make a histogram, very simple function is just type hist and wait a second, I'll just show you guys this thing. So if I just put iris is the data set's name, and I run histogram, it's gonna come error, because like histogram just means like you're taking only one particular variable and you want to make a figure out of. So here what I'm trying to tell R is like make a figure out of a whole data set, which is absolutely stupid. So I can't do that. So I have to mention within the iris data set, I want a particular thing to be graphically represented. So I type hist and type the data set's name, and then I put the dollar sign. Then automatically it will show what all columns are available. So let's say I took sepal length itself, and I'm running. So you see here is a histogram representing the iris datasets sepal length column. Okay, so it shows, like I said earlier, the least value is present in the lesser number of times, and the highest value is also present in the lesser number of times. And it's kind of sort of a normal distribution, but not exactly. I'm not getting into the details of how a normal distribution looks, but it's kind of sort of looking like this. Okay, again, coming to the point, this is a very simple, very basic way to do histogram, and here you can see like how sad it looks. Like it says histogram of iris dollar sign sepal length sepal dot length and all these kind of things. This is just like looks quite boring, and also like the color is very gray, and I like gray, but that's not the case here. I just, if I want to make it colorful, there can be even a bigger day code. I'm not going to explain what this code is because we will discuss it later in a little more in depth, so that time we will be understanding. So here you see this was the first code that I used, and it made a very simple basic histogram. Here you see now the whole thing is much more cleaner. It looks colorful. It says like histogram of sepal length in the iris data set. So here you see you like it. It looks nice. And even if you want to change the color, you can change the color. I'm just gonna change it just for the sake of it. I'll change it to yellow, which is a good color. Sorry. Okay. And I'm running it, and see it came in yellow color. And one good thing with R, which I also love, is like the number of colors that you can use. You can even use pastel shades, which is really, really great. And there are different uh, color books that you can take, which has codes for each colors. I personally use a lot of pastel colors in my figures. I love using them. And similarly, coming to the next one, which is a box plot. Box plot is kind of sort of like a histogram situation, but then not exactly histogram. In a box plot, you will get to know what is the minimum value, what is the maximum value, what is the first quartile, and what is the third quartile, and the median value. That also Tanvi has mentioned it. So I'm just gonna run it again. So here also the same rule applies. You cannot put the whole data set in the code and tell it to make a box plot, because it doesn't make sense to the programming language. So you have to mention specifically what you want to do. So here earlier we used sepal length, so I'm just gonna change to something else. Let's say, so I'm just putting dollar sign again, and let me say petal length, and I'm gonna make a box plot out of it. See, it made yet another box plot. Here also it looks kind of boring, and again, like you can expand it and make the color change and stuff, and you can use another code to also run it, so that way like it's a little more prettier. Again, the light blue is not looking good, so I'm just gonna make it blue. See, it just became this blue color. So this is how you do this. This is just how you play along with like R, and R can help you make a lot of amazing data visualizations. Like Pooja mentioned, there are a lot of resources that we have shared in the form of a spreadsheet. You go in form of Google Sheet, sorry, and you can just go and check it out. And to be one personal thing I want to mention is also that personally, I do not resonate with reading books or like reading text format of content. I learn better if somebody is showing it to me in a video format, or even like explaining it in a much more simpler manner. Like, so that way, I rather rely on Google and YouTube videos to understand how certain codes work and stuff. But that is like how I figured out in the beginning. But then later on, after a point, you just starts understanding the jargons that these people use in programming languages, then it will be pretty easier to like play along with that. And here is another like reminder tips that I want to give you. One is, like I said, use a question mark before anything that you have doubt with a function. Like, even for example, if you see another person's R script, like let's say a person shared an R script with you, which the set of codes they used to run this particular thing, you can copy a particular area, a particular function from that thing and ask what it is. So even for example, imagine you got a data set, an R script, then you saw this the ggplot thing, and you don't know what ggplot is. You just put a question mark and ask it, and the help will literally tell you what ggplot is. Okay. So similarly, ask R the questions. R will definitely help you out with a lot of things. And play along with Google. Definitely make Google your greatest of all times again, and discuss anything that you have doubt with in the questions and doubt solving section of our uh, we can go and discuss it there. Definitely in the Slack group, we are a lot. Most of us are quite active there, so make use of that peer learning component of our initiative, and also try ChatGPT. And you can definitely ask ChatGPT questions like, "What is a code to create histogram in an hour?" And even like, for example, you can even ask like how to import data into R. So these are different things that you can ask. And even like, for example, if you are new to R Markdown, you can ask anything, like even Google it and see what is R Markdown. You'll be thinking like, why did I mention R Markdown? Why am I using that? What does that mean? Again, this is a jargon to you, right? But gradually, when you try to immerse yourself in these kind of things, it will gradually becomes easier. Okay. So it's just like you have to keep on trying, and it's kind of sort of, unfortunately, like maths, you have to keep practicing, and it just one fine day it just comes automatic to you. So even for me, like I know these kind of basic things, and also like I showed, like however I have visualized the data, I know all those kind of things. But still, till date, sometimes I want an help of let's say Google or Chat GPT. I just use that because that's how coding works, and we have to embrace that. But you have to definitely have a basic understanding about how things work, otherwise you can't build on it. So it's just like waiting for that eureka moment, and until then, just be kind with yourself. And also another thing is, like, you can use the rant section of our Slack group also. You can just scream, yell, cry, or anything, whatever you want to do, which is socially acceptable. You can do that there, and just like we can learn it together, and definitely celebrate small moments wherein you're figuring out things. I still remember the first time I imported a data file into R, and I was happy for the next 10 minutes. Then I definitely had to get back into work. So like every single thing that you do, you just enjoy it, like enjoy the process. And until then you'll be like, okay, I reached this moment wherein like I'm not understanding anything. From there I have reached here where I understand some things about it. So these are kind of things that you can do, and ask questions obviously, and definitely rant to a friend. That helps a lot, because I think I am personally somebody who rants a lot. So I have ranted out, and I've gotten space from my friends for that. So yeah, so if you guys have any doubts, I can take it right away. If you want me to explain anything again, I can do that. Totally. Is there any questions? Yep.
Okay, that was an amazing session, both